Hey everybody, welcome back to 3 Generations Restoration. Back here we got our Farmall 300 that you saw in the past story time video where we split it in half on accident. Well, you also remember too that the engine is stuck on it, so we're gonna go ahead and get this thing apart so we can hopefully get it freed up. So I'll show you step by step how we get there, and we'll have the head off today. Alright, so we're taking off this little rod here, the clamp, and I'll get a socket. We're going to take off this nut here. This holds the steering shaft in. We bought this steering shaft off of a Farmall H, and it fits a Farmall 300, so I think this is like a 30 millimeter. It's an odd socket size, so we'll go ahead and get that. Alright, so crescent wrench will just do the trick here. There we go. Now, all that happens is the steering rod should just slide right out the front, just like that. Looks like it's still stuck up here, isn't it?
I gotta pry this back.
I'll get it. Keep going. A little more. Oh. Alright, hold on. Keep going.
Put it my way a little bit this way. I'll get this one. Moving?
Yeah,
There it goes. Okay.
Alright. The shaft is going to come out now.
Get that key probably, right?
I got it right there. Slide this out nice and easy. We'll set it on the table. So here's a good look at the worm gear that's going inside of the steering box. Here's the inside, and you can see the gear right in there that controls the rod that comes all the way down. So next thing we're going to probably do is I'm going to disconnect this harness here, disconnect this little breather line off of the valve cover, and we're probably going to have to pull the carburetor and stuff off on the other side. We'll get there. I'm going to get this wiring out of the way and all the plugs out of the way and marked. So alright, so we're going to go ahead and take off all these spark plugs, get them out of the way, the wires I should say. I did take a picture of them the way they go, although the firing order is 1342, so based on the number 1 portion of the distributor, it shouldn't be too hard to mess up. Now I'm gonna get a screwdriver. I'm gonna pry some of these clips out of the way and get all this alternator wiring out of the way here, because the alternator will have to tilt down a little bit. So that's going to be the next thing we're going to do here. I'm going to disconnect here. Just should come right out pretty easy.
Oh, it could be hooked. You ain't taking this off anyway.
No, I'm just sliding it, but that comes off easy. We'll leave this wire on just because it'll come down. Just taking this off makes it a little easier. I'm going to loosen up. Looks like this bolt here. And then it should tilt forward to get the belt off. We'll see. Alright, so it looks like this alternator was kind of custom made on here. We're going to do is loosen this nut here just enough so I can slide the belt off. I'll get this all the way out actually so I can really move it. Ease of access is the biggest thing when taking this cylinder head off. All right, set that down. This should come, oh, I gotta loosen this bottom nut here. That looks like a 9/16, and yeah, 9/16. There we go. Loosen this up, and then the alternator should tilt enough to get the belt off. That's as far as it's gonna go.
What's it hitting on?
It's hitting on this bracket. All right, so we got the belt off. We're just gonna tilt this down and out of the way. We may have to, yeah, that should be out of the way for now. If we need to, I can always really disconnect here. Hopefully that this doesn't break. We'll go ahead and move to the other side. Yeah, so I think what we're gonna do real quick is blow all this garbage out of here with the air. That way we don't get any of it under the valve cover or anything like that. So, but we're gonna take the exhaust. We're gonna take the exhaust manifold off as well. We're just gonna take the whole carburetor with it at the same time. So we'll go from there. All right, so to get this manifold off, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the governor shaft from the carburetor. 2 7/16 bolts are holding this end on. And what I also like to do is loosen the other end. Those are regular screws. So we'll get these 2 bolts out. Okay, we'll set them to the side. This might be too big of a screw. Yeah, too big. I gotta get a small one. All right, we're gonna take these 2 screws here out, or loose, just so we have a little more access to sneak this carburetor and manifold out of here. So I usually like to just leave a few threads on there. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna disconnect the intake tube that goes to the carburetor here. Just 2 hose clamps hold this on, and normally I have to get a razor knife and cut these off just because they've been on for forever, but we'll see. We may get lucky. Judging by how this clamp is coming off, I don't think so. You can tell that this has been on here a long time. We'll always put new on if we need to. All right, we should be able to sneak this out now. There we go. So I'll pull this out just like so. Now looking at this, there is a, see the fuel line right in here. That's a 1/2 inch nut that we're gonna use to take that off. Get the fuel tank, or fuel line I should say, out of the way. Oh, there's some little fuel there. Make sure the sediment bowl is off. Oh, that's stuck. Now I can take this off. There might be a little tarnished gas in here left over, but the fuel tank was on, or the sediment bowl was on, and there's a lot of freaking bad gas, I think, in that tank, and I don't exactly want that on my hands right now, even though it's probably going to end up happening. like right there.
Put a bucket down there and
All right,
grind it, right?
pull this out. All right, once we get the carb out of the way, we're gonna probably drain this bad gas. Now what we need to do is get the choke cable out of the way. It's held on with a clamp down there and another little screw. So we'll go ahead and take that out with that little stubby. If this is even gonna want to go, which I doubt.
Take the carburetor off and lean it out and you can...
Yeah, that's what we'll do. I think to get that off, what we're gonna end up doing is just taking the manifold off and disconnecting it that way to get a little more ease of access. So now that we got that done, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get an air gun and we're gonna disconnect all the nuts that hold this manifold on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we got 6. It does look like I'm gonna have to take this whole entire tube off so I can get access to this one nut here. So let's go ahead and take this off. So once again, we got 2 hose clamps here. And by the looks of it, this tube has probably never been off. So,
Come out one place or the other one.
yeah. I'd be lucky if we don't, oh look at that, came right off. Set that aside. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get an air gun and we're gonna take all those nuts out. We should be able to slide the thing off so I can get the choke cable off. And then once the choke cable's off, then we should be good to go on everything else. We should be able to get this head off pretty quick. So I'm gonna get a 3/4 socket or an 11/16, one or the other, and buzz these off. All right, last nut is right here. Shouldn't come off since it's on studs. All right, let's go ahead and see if this thing will come loose here. Yep, he's coming. Hitting nothing. All right, there's the manifold. I might need you to hold this so I can get the choke disconnected.
Okay.
I just need to take off that 7/16 nut. You got it? There we go. All right, here comes the manifold. Right here. We'll set this on the table. All right, here's some of the holes, intake or exhaust. I believe this is intake, and exhaust, 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 exhaust. This one here, not the best looking, but I've seen worse. I'll get this gasket material off of here. Get this one off. Come on. There we go. In case we need to use these. Alright, I didn't see this before when we were doing the alternator, but we got 2 bolts here that hold the actual bracket on. We're just going to take right off. Ready? Oh. Alright, set these here. We got enough wire that we can just take the alternator. All right, we're gonna take this thermostat housing off. we got this bottom hose here. We're gonna loosen up, get this whole thing out of the way. That way we can also access this tube here. So we got these two hoses we're loosening right now. Just like that. Should be good to go. Now we're gonna get a 9/16 socket. We're gonna buzz that housing out. I think this is a 9/16. This is a 5/8.
That's not it.
There we go. Now this should pop right off. Yep.
Your screwdriver.
All right. So we got the thermostat housing off. Now we can get to this hose here that has to come off too. Looks like an 11/16, 5/8, one of the two. We'll get that out. Get this out of the way. We got this little hose here to do. And then of course we got our temperature sender here we're gonna have to take off. And then we can move to the rocker arms and all that. So we'll go ahead and get that hose off now, I think. There we go. All right, let's see if this one goes now. Yep. So get this hose out of the way, and then we'll move to this one again. All right, that one's out. All right, there's that hose. We'll set that to the side. We're gonna have to get this little hose out here out of the way so I can get to this other part here. There we go. All right, we got another 5/8 one here. Loosen this. Just like that. There we go. Now, got to take these two screws out of here so I can get the whole hose out. Just two regular screws off of this governor housing, or the governor control. The governor's down here. Come on. Quit slipping off. There we go. All right, this whole tube should come right off. There we go. Still must be up in here. Oh, there we go. There it is. There's our little linkage that controls the throttle for the governor. All right, I think we're, aside from, we got to get this temperature sending thing off. Probably take it off right there. Let's see if this comes out. Yep, there it goes. So we'll get this out of the way. All right, we're ready to take the valve cover off. 2 9/16 nuts, pop it off. Okay, so got a 9/16 socket on the valve cover nuts. All right. I'm probably gonna have to pop the valve cover loose with a little hammer, rubber mallet. We'll see. Oh, nope. It's gonna come right off. How we looking? Not too bad. We got ourselves a stuck valve here. Stuck valve here. These ones don't look bad. So it's a good thing we didn't try to start this thing. I mean, we couldn't really try to start this thing. It was so locked up, but if it was free, it would have been another bent push rod kind of deal. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take the actual rocker arm off. I'm gonna pull the push rods out, and then we should be able to get all the nuts off of the cylinder head and pop this head right off and see what we're looking at on for the cylinders. So that's the next step. Turn it off. All right, 9/16 socket. We're gonna go ahead and loosen them. All right, so here's all the rocker arm bolts. We're gonna go ahead. Doesn't look like it has any lubricate. It does right here, so be careful of this tube right here. It goes right into the cylinder head. It should just pop right out of there. It's going slowly, but just like that. Oh, I got a push rod that didn't want to come out. We'll set this on the table. Like that. All right, now what we're gonna do is we are going to get a chunk of cardboard and label it like 1 through 8, which push rod is which. That way we know, you know, where they go when we put them back in. So that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna get a chunk of cardboard. All right, here's a little box trick, as I would say. We're gonna start here being number 1. Where's... That was a lifter that moved, I could hear it. 2, 3, oh, here's
have to go
4.
all the way in. We need to stick out.
5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll check all these for straightness when we get to it, but this is how you keep them organized. We'll set them down out of the way. All right. Now that we can have the rocker arm off, you can really see the stuck valves. You got one here, here, here. This one's down a little bit, stuck. So we have, I would say 3.5 stuck valves, but this one really is completely stuck. So we are gonna go ahead and pop off all these nuts. They look like they're 3/4 and should be able to raise this thing up and see what we got going on down there. All right, I got my 3/4 socket. We're gonna kind of go opposite of what you torque this to, so I'm just kind of gonna go out. That way it doesn't tweak itself. and every single one of these, it seemed like wanted to stay in the socket as soon as I buzzed it off. Now it did look like the cylinder head actually broke free from the block, which is a good thing because we were going to actually have to get the engine hoist. Yeah, I think it's gonna come. All right, we're gonna take the cylinder head off. Got you guys on the table because that's where we're coming with it. All right, now I can take it. Ready? Yep. There it is, guys. Woo! I don't know how heavy it is. It's got to be 80, 100 pounds.
Close to 80, probably, anyway.
Let's take a look at the cylinders. All right, so here's kind of what we're looking at. Looks like cylinders 2 and 4, this being 2, this being 4, are actually free. Cylinder 1 and cylinder 3, on the other hand, look like they're froze. We've been having these things soaked for a while with 50/50 acetone and ATF, I believe, power steering fluid or automatic transmission fluid. It's all the same thing. What do you think? Should we let it sit up, put some more in and let it sit, or should we start beating on it?
Beat on it.
Since this thing's been soaking for probably 3 weeks or more, and we've gotten no change, it's time to bring out the maul. We're gonna bring the maul out and we're gonna persuade these pistons to move. And they're gonna move, I guarantee it. So let's go get the sledge. All right, we got our custom-made hard block chunk of wood that fits down into the cylinder, and we were hitting on that number 1, and number 3 was coming up and pushing the liner out. So we put the block on number 3 and we're hitting down on it now, and I think we got a little movement finally. Let's see what you guys think. Whoa.
Going.
I can't go anymore with this block now. So, but yeah, looks like we're going. Yeah, we definitely went down a good 1/2 inch. You can see the rust down there that was accumulated. Not bad. All right, so we were able to hit the pistons on number 3 all the way down. So 2 and 3 are all the way down, and 1 and 4 all the way up, and we got a little movement now. See if we can't work them. Oh, we're stuck again. So we're gonna have to beat it again, but we're stuck. All right, so we think at least the engine pretty freed up here. We got it outside and we're gonna go ahead and pop the clutch on it, kind of really break everything free. So he's got to get straight first, and then I will go ahead and pop the clutch and show you guys kind of what's going on with the pistons. Keep going. So you guys can see them moving up and down. So what we're doing now is kind of just getting them nice and free. Hold on. All right, guys, so I would consider this day a success. We got the engine freed up. The only thing I'm suspect about is cylinder 3. This was the cylinder that was pretty stuck and actually had the sleeve coming up and down as we were beating on the pistons with old trusty. I put a little engine oil and I was watching each piston go up and down, and I could see 1, 2, and 4 wiping pretty good, and 3 was kind of wiping. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to think about if we're going to do rings or if we're going to put a new head gasket on it and try it and see if it smokes. But then you got all the work you got to do again. So we got to do some thinking on this thing, but we got it apart, so that's the first step. We got the head over there on the bench. We're going to soak that. We got 3 stuck valves. So we got some more work to do, but I think the biggest thing is done. The engine is no longer stuck, so stay tuned, and I'll be letting you guys know what we're going to be doing coming soon. But yeah, 300 is now unstuck, so thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe.